At Todoist, I used to work in content marketing with another content marketer called Becky Keane. Now, if you have been around at Todoist for a while, you will remember some of Becky's writing. But a while back, we had a user write to her. His name was Nathan. And I feel like we can all relate to Nathan. He writes, "I always like the blogs you guys do, but I feel they're often aimed at people who have their stuff together a bit more than the average person, hoping and wishing for more productive work days. But there are people who are really struggling. Do you guys write blogs to help those people too? There are people out there, I'm sometimes one of them, who can't even manage a single task in their 8 hours at work. There's anxiety and fear built into doing things or planning them out. There's depression and burnout and overwhelm getting in the way of their own success. There are people grappling with ADHD as well. Thoughts? Thanks, Nathan. P.S. I'm writing you this note instead of working on the thing I'm supposed to be doing. Very classic Nathan on display here. FML." Now, Becky had a lot to say on this in response to Nathan, and I will link that article in the description box below. However, there was one tactic that really stuck with me, and I think it will help you too. The thing about getting your stuff together is that everyone thinks that it's a one-time event. You think, I don't have my stuff together, therefore I will get my stuff together, and then my stuff will be together forevermore. And there are times when you can feel organised and in control. If you're doing your weekly reviews. Now, if you don't know what a weekly review is, we have a video on that. I would highly recommend you go watch it. It's been one of our most popular videos. I'm going to link it here. But you are planning your weeks, another word for a weekly review, and everything seems to be flowing quite well. And then there are times when everything is falling apart and the fire, dog, cup, I'm fine meme pops up into your mind. Your to-do list can be overwhelming, and so then we tend to ignore it and go and do other less fruitful tasks instead, which only compounds over time to make you feel less organised, and everything then just feels worse. Becky experienced this, I experienced this fairly regularly, and Nathan experienced it too. There are going to be days where you get to the end of an 8-hour workday and you feel nothing but unaccomplished and exhausted. And telling someone who already feels overwhelmed and paralysed by the amount of things that they have to do that all they need to do now is to implement a system that's going to help them is much like handing a drowning person the blueprint for a boat. At that point, you don't need a blueprint, you need a lifesaver. Enter the advice from David Parker in his book, The More You Do, The Better You Feel. If you don't know him already, David Parker is an author and a speaker on the topics of mental health and procrastination. And he has devised the lifesaver. It's called the J.O.T method, or the just one thing method. So here's how it works. You're going to take a pen or a pencil and a notebook. You're going to write the date in the corner, and then you're going to think of one thing that you've been putting off that you know you need to get done. You're going to write that thing down on one line. Nothing else. This is not a to-do list. Write that thing out, go do that thing, and then draw a thin line through it so you can still see what it was. That thing is now done. Then you repeat the process. You write the next thing you need to do. Go do that thing. Draw a line through it. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't start thinking, oh, I'm going to have this big page full of all of these things I've done. That does not matter. One thing at a time. And just do that one thing. You may have 1 or 2 things on that list that day. You may have 20 things on that list that day. It doesn't really matter. The idea is to get yourself out of procrastination mode and into a taking action mode. Do this as often as you need to when overwhelm strikes. And then at some point, you'll have taken sufficient action and got through sufficient amount of things you've been procrastinating on that you'll feel as though you are safe and dry back on deck. That is the time whenever you can start looking at systems and ways to better improve your productivity in general. And then, if you start to feel yourself slipping or your procrastination creeps in again, you now have one tool, just one thing. That's what you're going to do from now on. And remember that no matter how paralysed or overwhelmed you feel, that you're just one thing away from taking action and feeling a little bit more confident and getting back on track. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, I would love to hear it in the comments below. Also give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want some more very honest and real productivity advice. Thank you very much. See you in the next one. Bye. Let's start that again. It's not that hard, Naomi. It's not that hard.